A very good morning to you and thanks for your time this morning. Firstly, let's start with the why. Why are we seeing that we're in the situation we are at the moment, with inequality being so high at this stage in our lives, in South Africa's history?
Good morning. We just completed a study that looked at the long-term poverty and inequality trends in South Africa. And we found that despite the fact that government investment in policies over the last 25 years, poverty reduced, but level of the income inequality in the country is very high. Essentially, the country is one of the most unequal countries in the world. And the question why is a very difficult question. There are many reasons why inequality is so high, but it is embedded in the legacy of the apartheid, of course, but it's not only that. If you look at the trends that happened over the last 20 years, we realized that other factors that raise really impacting level of the disparities and income inequalities in the country. Currently, what we see that labor market deficiencies and inequalities in skills and education are prevailing, and these are the main factors now, the roots of a level of very high inequality in the country.
Now, the obvious debate here, Victor, I suppose, and we have Minister Dlamini-Zuma saying a lot of this goes back to apartheid. Many may be saying over 20 years, you know, since the dawn of democracy. Why are we still seeing this? I mean, we have now the government of today facing all kinds of challenges. We're looking at corruption, we're looking at wasteful expenditure, we're looking at bad spending, money not being used where it's supposed to be used. So how much do we attribute to apartheid, and what is a decent time that you can say yes when you can stop blaming things on apartheid, and then how much is attributed to what is happening now with our money, and what should be done to be alleviating the inequality and poverty?
This is a very good question, and definitely we should not go back and talk about apartheid now. So it's a definitely now new issues, and issue of poverty, when we are talking about more than 50%, 55% of the high middle income countries, South Africa is in poverty, is unacceptable. It's definitely one of the highest poverty level in the world for this level of development, and it definitely should not be. When we talk about extreme poverty, it's almost quarter of the population are poor, while if you compare with a similar country with level of development, it's supposed to be close to zero. We're definitely talking about a very high level of poverty, and you're talking about two countries in one, when you have a very large proportion of the population in extreme poverty, while some of the population on elite and the middle class. So it's a missing middle. So it's definitely related to the many policies that they were implemented, and situation improved, but definitely further investment is needed to reduce and eradicate poverty. So we are taking the study we just published, we're looking further what really should be done that to possibly reduce and maybe eradicate poverty. First, we realize that if business as usual continues, the goals of eradicating poverty by 2030 is simply impossible. So the low growth scenarios that we observe now, we have some rebound now, but it's definitely not enough to reduce significantly poverty in South Africa. It's in a business as usual scenario, we probably will reduce extreme poverty from approximately 25% as it is now to maybe 18%. And this will be because of some continuation of the small growth and expansion of education. But without very good policies that will increase growth, and not just growth, but inclusive growth in the country, it will not be possible to reduce poverty, and definitely will not be possible reduce the extreme level of inequality.
All right, Victor,
now, when we talk about different policies, we are talking about
Sorry, very quickly for us.
Yes.
I want you to just explain quickly for us that the minister also saying a skills revolution is needed, saying radical economic transformation is necessary to help alleviate the situation. As a World Bank, what do you understand? What does the World Bank understand radical economic transformation to be? Because many South Africans themselves don't understand this. And a skills revolution, how? Simply, in what way?
This is exactly the core of the proposed reforms that we are talking about. We found that the main root of this level of inequality is in a lack of lack of skills in the country. So we propose package of the measures that includes further investment in education. So we need to provide quality of education for all. And we are talking about different level of education. Definitely, we should continue with the basic and basic education should be continued, and the quality of the education should be delivered to the population. This is one. But definitely, the tertiary education and investment in and providing access to tertiary education will be a long-term solution for this problem. But it's not just education when we talk about skills. Skills is really much more complex when you have lots of youth that graduating but cannot find jobs. So investment in the skills, in the ability, in the employability, this is the areas we are talking about.
All right, thanks very much for that, Victor Sulla, senior economist at the World Bank in our Pretoria studios this morning.